Welcome to Good Morning Keys on Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5.
And good morning, Keys. It is Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5. The talk of the Keys, and the 16th of June has arrived already. We are getting into the summer months, almost the official start of the summer season, and do pay attention to some of those traffic reports from our newsroom. Some incidents to be reported and followed along with, and we'll do that for you here on Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5. The talk of the Keys. We're going to say good morning to our friend Phil Goodman, board commissioner and board chair, and the Commissioner, District 2 of the Mosquito Control District. Good morning to you, Phil. How are you, sir?
Michael, good morning to you, and good morning to your listeners.
Yes, sir. Thanks so much for being here. So we have a few things to go over. We're starting to get into the summer months, starting to get warmer. We had some rain. Let's have an update on current mosquito counts of the Keys, if you would.
Okay, we did have some rain the other week, and we had a lot of mosquito activity. We had a lot of aerial mission and truck missions, but over the last several days, we've had really very little rain in the Keys, nothing to really cause a larval outbreak. So mosquito numbers have been relatively good as far as what we're actually breeding in the Florida Keys. The wind did change direction to a somewhat a westerly direction last few days, and we've had a lot of mosquitoes blowing in from the Everglades, particularly in the Upper Keys. So we've had a lot of truck missions the last few days in the Upper Keys, particularly up Highway 905. But those numbers are also coming down now. The wind has changed direction away from the west, so the mosquito count numbers are pretty good right now all over the Keys. We still have a few pockets that we're working on, but overall the numbers are pretty good for this time of year. And we certainly are in the time of year where we will see a lot of mosquito activities continuing. But from a disease standpoint, we are not really seeing much right now. Even coming into Florida, the numbers for the last month have been relatively low. The last week, there were one case of dengue fever and one case of chikungunya in the Miami area that were all travel related. This is the first travel related we've seen in probably in several weeks. But, we're still not dropping our guard. The CDC still tells us that chikungunya particularly and dengue, we're going to have a pretty tough season this year. So we're certainly keeping ahead of it right now. The numbers for the Aedes aegypti in the Florida Keys are relatively low. So we're in pretty good shape right now, I think, all up and down the Keys for mosquito control. But we're waiting for that next rain, which probably will come pretty soon, Michael.
I'm sure it will. It is always just around the corner. We are with Phil Goodman, Commissioner, District 2 Board Chair, Florida Keys Mosquito Control District, on Good Morning Keys. So that is good news that mosquito-borne diseases in Florida are in pretty good shape, and none in the Florida Keys, thanks to controlling the dengue fever and the Aedes aegypti. But June 15th was World Dengue Day. Mosquito-borne diseases, it continues to be a global problem, Phil. Several ongoing global projects that are helping with that. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, yesterday was World Dengue Day, and this week is the National Mosquito Control Awareness Week for all types of mosquito-borne diseases. And so, we'll have a lot of information this week, particularly on social media, reminding people, to do the things necessary to prevent mosquito-borne diseases, and dumping water and keeping from breeding these Aedes aegypti, particularly here in the Florida Keys. Keep from breeding them on your own property. And the good mosquito control, job number one for us is to prevent the spread of disease. And, before 1950, there were a lot of mosquito-borne diseases, in Florida and in the U.S. We had malaria, dengue fever, yellow fever were still considered endemic at that time. But by 1960, they were no longer endemic because of mosquito control. So mosquito control in Florida has really done a good job over the years in reducing the number of these mosquito-borne diseases, but not so much in the rest of the world. It's a global problem, the mosquito-borne diseases, and you would hope that there would be some type of a global solution. There never has been very much of one. Right now, before 1970, I think there were only about 9 countries of the world where mosquito-borne diseases, particularly dengue fever, were endemic. Today, there's more than 100 countries, and that number is still growing. So the mosquito-borne diseases is a major problem in the world. I know right now, I think between 100 and 400 million cases per year of dengue fever in the world, and quite a few deaths. But what is happening right now? There is a project called the World Mosquito Project, and it is really based on Wolbachia. They're releasing Wolbachia mosquitoes, and this is the replacement technology, which is a different Wolbachia than what we're using. This is where you're releasing males and females with the Wolbachia bacteria in them. And when they mate, the mosquitoes live, but they do not carry the disease. That Wolbachia bacteria prevents them from carrying disease. And this is projects that are done by a lot of grants. Right now, in Singapore, a lot of Asian countries, a lot of Central American, South American countries, and then also in Africa, where these programs are going, they've seen, quite a reduction in the number of mosquito-borne diseases in those countries, and this will continue. It's a very expensive program. Like I said, it's funded mostly by grants, and this will continue. And this is probably the biggest thing right now going on worldwide to control these diseases. So, we're very hopeful that it helps because all of the mosquito-borne diseases, are particularly dengue fever, yellow fever, malaria. These are not endemic here in Florida. They're brought in by travelers. So if if the diseases can be reduced in the rest of the world, it certainly helps us here in Florida. So we are certainly supporting those programs 100%.
Yes, sir. Phil Goodman with us, Commissioner, District 2 Board Chair, Florida Keys Mosquito Control District. On Good Morning Keys and June 15th, World Dengue Day yesterday. Thank you for that update, Phil, on the global initiatives to control dengue fever. But bats and dragonflies, let's talk about that for a moment. Can they help control mosquito populations? Fact versus fiction. We have an opportunity to clarify that. A lot of misinformation about this. So please do explain.
Sure. Bats, dragonflies, they certainly do eat mosquitoes, but there's a lot of misinformation about there as to how much. Bats, if you'll remember in your history, the bat towers, there was one on Sugarloaf Key in 1929, and, where they would build a tower and bring bats in to try to reduce the mosquito population, but none of them worked. They were built in a number of states, but they really did not work. Because bats, they do eat mosquitoes, but they don't prefer mosquitoes. They prefer larger insects. And also bats fly and feed at an altitude higher than where mosquitoes typically fly in large numbers. So it's just, it doesn't really help much. The real myth comes from a study that was done back in 1960, where they put a bat in a cage with 2,000 mosquitoes and counted how many that bat had ate overnight, and he ate a lot of them. But that was all he had to eat, so there was a lot of misinformation then. It wasn't really a good study. And the same with dragonflies. You can't really breed dragonflies. Some of them have they're in the incubation stages for years, so you can't really do it. And Florida has a rule also, you can't import dragonflies. Dragonflies also have a territory. They don't swarm in big numbers. They do eat mosquitoes, but here again, they prefer to eat larger insects. So it's not really neither one of these are really a good control measure. They certainly help a little bit, but not very much. I think a good example of how they do is in the Florida Everglades. The Everglades is a very natural area. There's no chemical usage to control anything there. And, there are a lot of bats, there are a lot of birds, there are a lot of dragonflies, but there are also a lot of mosquitoes. And so, it's not a control method, and it's really just kind of something that you hear out people on the internet talking about. It sounds good, but there's really no validity to it. However, there is one fish that eat larvae. These are really a good control measure, and this is something that we provide and put in people's ponds, and we pick them up and we put them, in other areas to try to control the larvae, particularly when the tide comes in. We hope that fish will come in. So fish are a really good way to control this. But here again, they control it in the larvae stage, and but the best control methods are done by your mosquito control operations.
Well, if I were a bat and had only mosquitoes to eat, I would probably eat them too, but probably prefer something else. So that might not be a great indicator of bats controlling the population. And there's a lot of other ways to control the Aedes aegypti, as we've talked about many times. But there'll be a number of discussions on the agenda today. Florida Keys Mosquito Control District Board meeting happens today. What are some of the major topics that will be discussed?
At our board meeting, we will have our introductory budget workshop where we will kind of look at, based on our strategic plan, what we will be doing this next year and where funds will be going, more or less in a real broad sense. And then next month, we will have our first budget workshop where we really get down looking at how much money we're going to need to operate in the coming fiscal year. So that's one of the main things on our agenda today, is to go into that preliminary discussion. Another thing, we will start this morning at 10 a.m. We will have a focus on our partners. And today we're focusing on the Lodging Association. We'll have members of the Lodging Association there. We will give them some presentations on what we're doing, particularly pertaining to the Lodging Association, and then also a tour around our facilities. And then they will also address our board at 1 o'clock today for a meeting. And one of the things we're doing, we're bringing in partners that we have, government partners, and also partners like the Lodging Association. A couple of months ago, we had the Tourist Development Council, and we've had the Board of Realtors, and people that are responsible for bringing in a lot of people here. And we're trying to educate them so that they can educate their clients on mosquito control, because we have so many new people here educating on what we actually do, and our goals are really at the forefront right now of the things that we're doing. So this is a continuing education of the Lodging Association so that they can educate their clientele further. So, because what we see right now, a lot of people on the social media, they will have a problem with mosquitoes and they complain on the other people on social media. We would like those people to call mosquito control, because we can really help them. We don't see everything out there on social media. So it's a continuous education process. And, if people have problems, please call mosquito control and tell us your problems there so that we can focus on them. They can do it several ways. They can do it by phone call at 305-292-7190 and ask for a service request, or they can go to our website, www.keysmosquito.org, and do the same thing, or they can use the app on their smartphone and put in a service request. And typically we will respond to those requests the same day or next day at the latest, depending on when you put in the service request.
Yes,
so
Phil.
This is what's going on in our meetings today.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that update. I was going to say keysmosquito.org is the website that has a lot of resources and opportunities to not only find out more about mosquito control in our mosquito control district, but also to then utilize resources available to, get treatments, as you said, and the like, and find out what is happening up to date in terms of mosquito control. It is Phil Goodman. He is board chair, Commissioner District 2, Florida Keys Mosquito Control District. And Phil, I thank you very much for being here this morning. Is there anything else we should mention, though, before we let you get ready for your board meeting?
People should, look on social media today and get information from us on mosquito control, particularly for the National Mosquito Control Awareness Week that we're in. And be aware of dumping out standing water on your property. Look at different areas that are collecting water and dump them out. If you need assistance from mosquito control, please call us. We're certainly there to help.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Phil, for your many years of service on the board of Mosquito Control District. And we appreciate the updates here on a regular basis as well. You have a wonderful day, a very good meeting with the Florida Keys Mosquito Control District Board, and we will talk soon, sir.
Okay, yeah, Michael, thank you very much. You have a good day, and good day to your listeners.
Good day to you, sir. Thank you so very much. It is Phil Goodman with us. He is board chair, commissioner, District 2, Florida Keys Mosquito Control District on Good Morning Keys, and we will keep you appraised of the traffic situation upcoming from the newsroom. Also, we're sitting at 85 degrees right now, on our way to 90 with sunny skies, no mention of rain, as Phil had mentioned. And that's going to help our mosquito numbers as well. Slight chance of showers tonight, 82 for the low. Tomorrow, 91 with an early chance of a shower, a thunder shower, then sunny. Thursday, 91. Friday, 91. Back to a slight chance of a shower on Friday. And that is Juneteenth as well. A lot of offices closed that day. This is Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5. The Talk of the Keys. We'll return with more Good Morning Keys in a moment.
Let's talk trash. I'm Taylor Conrath, and my family's been taking care of your family's trash for years. In fact, we've operated Marathon Garbage Service and kept the Middle Keys clean since my great-grandpa, John Conrath, founded the company in 1950. That's a lot of years talking trash and hauling trash. And these days, we take care of your family's recyclables in addition to commercial and residential waste removal. The Conrath family and our entire team of great employees takes pride in keeping our community clean, from the north end of the 7 Mile Bridge to Craig Key. Now it's my generation of Conraths working together with my grandfather and my dad to continue the tradition and commitment started in 1950 at Marathon Garbage Service. The Conrath family is always there for your family. If you need to talk trash, just call us at 305-743-5165. That's 305-743-5165. Or visit us at 4290 Overseas Highway in Marathon and online at marathongarbageservice.com.
Step back in time. Step back into Old Town. Step into Old Town Bakery with fresh baked treats like pastries, cookies, brownies, and fresh breads made every morning. Enjoy hot and cold delicious ground coffee always brewing and handcrafted breakfast and lunch sandwiches made to order on oven fresh breads. And now Old Town Bakery features spinach mushroom feta quiche and ham and cheese quiche, delectable for breakfast or lunch by the slice. Get a whole quiche pie by ordering in-store with 24 hours advance notice. And enjoy new cream-filled croissants with chocolate or vanilla filling and award-winning fresh baked pies, including their key lime pie, voted the best in the Keys. Pick up their unique Old Town Bakery t-shirts for a friend or yourself and give the gift of deliciousness with a gift card available for purchase in-store. And their catering menu is available to make that next event memorable. Old Town Bakery on the corner of Eaton and Grinnell. Stop in or order online. OldTownBakeryKeyWest.com.
Your home is your castle, your sanctuary. Rack Advanced Control brings together the electrical and smart technology that make your home comfortable, secure, and effortless to live in. Imagine music flowing seamlessly through every room, beautiful lighting that adjusts to your lifestyle, motorized shades, climate control, and energy management all working together automatically. From integrated audio and video systems to discrete security cameras and professional electrical services, Rack Advanced Control designs and installs technology that works in perfect harmony. Originally founded in California, Rack Advanced Control has over 20 years of experience serving the luxury residential market and was honored as a 2024 Lutron Excellence Award Integrator. Now with an office in Key West, Florida, Rack brings world-class smart home design and electrical expertise to the Florida Keys. Make your home smarter, safer, and more enjoyable to live in. Call 786-647-9647 or visit rackav.com. Rack Advanced Control. Intelligent luxury, expertly installed.
Good Morning Keys on Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5.
Good morning, Keys. Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5. The Talk of the Keys. And good morning to you. It is 8:30, 16th of June. Juneteenth coming up in just a few days. Keep that in mind. Most government offices will be closed on that day. Had an active day. I was actually at the airport yesterday and witnessed that disabled aircraft right on the runway is actually where it happened, and it prevented any air traffic from coming into Keys International Airport yesterday for a while. But thank you to the Monroe County Sheriff's Office for getting that situation handled and getting everyone safely off the runway, including the plane, as well as emergency. The fire rescue people, of course, were on the scene immediately for that as well. That was following that private plane crash. You heard about that on Keys Talk News from the newsroom when a private plane crashed on Sunday about 100 yards off the runway at Key West International. That happened at 2:14 p.m. We spoke with the sheriff about that. 2 people on board. No injuries were reported in that as well. So pretty active time out at Key West International Airport as of late. A couple of disabled and actually, mishaps with aircraft happening out there. We're going to say good morning to Nikki the nurse. Nikki is with us from the Key West Surgical Group Incorporated and Med Spa. And good morning to you, Nikki.
Good morning, Michael. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you. Thanks so much for being here. So I hope you're having a good day thus far.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good. But it's still
okay.
early. It's pretty
too
good.
early to tell.
Yeah, there you go. That's all right. Well, Nikki, the nurse practitioner, is with us from the Key West Surgical Group Incorporated and Med Spa, 3134 Northside Drive in Key West. Exceptional health care close to home. We're talking about bulges and hernias. Is this pointed directly at someone?
No, not intentionally. But
okay.
you made me think about it. So
well, it is an important topic. And remember, we also have to recap and finalize last week's topic that was a long one as well. We were talking about skin, but we're going to move to the hernia thing. As I was walking through the airport, pushing my hernia in with one hand and pushing my luggage with the other. Kind of fun. So let's talk about when a bulge is just a bulge, when an emergency is what it is. So common but misunderstood hernias. All right. So what about it? Tell us.
So many people may notice a lump in their groin, a belly button, or the abdomen and think, oh, I'll just keep an eye on it. Most people know when they have a hernia. And it kind of, I think when they feel it, they're like, oh, God, I have a hernia. I don't want surgery. So sometimes that's reasonable enough if there's no pain, if it's not, interfering with anything like, bowel habits or urination, you should be okay. But then if you put it off for too long, hernias can become a true surgical emergency.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, when does that happen? What are some of the signs?
So there are different types of hernia, of course. Well, let's start what a hernia is before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Think of your abdominal wall as like the wall of a house, right? The muscles and the connective tissues are designed to keep everything where it belongs. If a weak spot develops, meaning in the tissue, fat, or even part of the intestine can push through that weakness, creating a bulge. And that is what a hernia is. So when you have a hernia, that's a good analogy. I always use that in aesthetics, but it is good for the abdomen too. And if you own a house, you know that sometimes bad things can happen with the foundation. It's a lump that can come and go, meaning like it'll pop out, you could push it back in. The bulge will get bigger when coughing. So any type of straining can make it worse. Coughing is one of them. Any pressure or heaviness, discomfort when lifting, exercising, or standing for long periods of time. Some hernias and most hernias usually start off, like I said, they're not painful, but they can become uncomfortable over time. And remember that this is a structural problem. So once that weakness develops, it cannot repair itself.
Yeah.
If there's a weakness, then it's just going to continue to get weaker.
They're not going to go away. This is Medical Matters, brought to you by Key West Surgical Group Incorporated and Med Spa with Nikki, the nurse practitioner, talking about hernias hitting close to home here. They can happen to anyone, but they're more common in people who do what?
Lift heavy objects. So if you have a job where you are lifting constantly and you don't use good body mechanics, even if you do, you can still get a hernia. It depends on the weight of the object. Again, chronic coughing from smoking, asthma, or lung disease. That chronic coughing puts pressure in that abdominal wall or other areas where they can weaken, and a hernia can become a problem. Strain due to constipation. So if you are constantly straining to have a bowel movement, again, you're using all those muscles to have that bowel movement. It can create that weakness and a hernia can occur. Anybody that is overweight, if you've had previous abdominal surgery, multiple pregnancies, and it is if you have a family history of hernias, you are more susceptible. So if your mom and dad had one, it's possible that you may have one.
Yeah. And as we age, lots of things can happen, including the weakening of some of your muscles, and that can increase the risk too.
That is correct. So
Okay.
we could jump into all the different types of hernias if you'd
Let's
like.
do that. We are going to be fully up to date and educated on hernias thanks to Medical Matters from the Key West Surgical Group Incorporated in Med Spa. You know, Dr. Rhoda Smith has many years of repairing people's hernias and bringing them back to good health with her expert medical knowledge and skill. This is absolutely in her wheelhouse. So let's talk a little bit more about common types of hernias.
So first we'll start with the inguinal hernia. That is the most common type, which occurs in the groin. So a lot of people will have a little bump, or they'll start with maybe some pressure in the groin. Most likely these men get these, but women can get them too. Discomfort when lifting, pressure when standing. Symptoms can improve when laying down. So a lot of times if it bulges out while you're standing, when you're laying down, you could pop it back in.
Okay. Yep. All right. And those are the most common, it seems. Umbilical hernias, though.
So they occur around the belly button. That's more common in adults, especially after pregnancy, weight gain, or anything that increases pressure in the abdomen. Many people will notice a soft bulge at the navel that may become more obvious throughout the day. So those are, if you ever see somebody in their belly button, they didn't have an outie belly button, but now they do.
Yep. That's a hernia.
That's a hernia.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're talking about hernias, so let's talk about incisional. Did I say that right? Hernias.
Incisional hernia. So
there
that
you
just
go.
means it develops at the site of a previous surgery. Even years after you have surgery, weakness can develop because they have to cut into that, especially if it's in the abdomen, they have to cut into that abdominal wall. So they're making a trauma to the house, right?
Yeah.
And even though they put it back together, it's still, as you heal, you just might, depending on your age, you just might not heal as well as you don't. If you're 60 and you have it, you're not probably going to heal the same or as fast as if you were in your 20s. So that's why after, when you have abdominal surgery, not necessarily a hernia, it's really important to follow what they tell you, like no heavy lifting. And people like to push the envelope and say, we have this same day surgery, everything you get out in a day, you don't have to stay overnight. So just, you think your body is healed already. It's not. So, stick to those precautions after you have surgery, because then even years later you can develop, that weakness can weaken. It didn't heal properly, or it wasn't as strong as it was before you had the surgery. So now you're, at risk for a hernia. And so an incisional hernia is something that can develop in an area where you've had previous surgery.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of surgical advice and knowing what to do following surgery, Key West Surgical Group Incorporated in Med Spa, of course, are experts at all of those topics and matters. And we're talking about medical matters, by the way. Key West Surgical Group.com online. Also, 3134 Northside Drive in Key West is where you find the exceptional care close to home. And you can always call with your questions, 305 294 1041. Did we do femoral?
Femoral hernias. So they're less common, but important because they have a higher risk of becoming trapped. So that is in the area where it's kind of near the groin. It's where your femoral artery is. So you need to be careful. If you are told you have one of those, they often happen more common in women than men, and they tend to require urgent surgical attention. So just, if you're having pain and that's what they tell you have, you need to be more aware of it becoming trapped.
Okay. Nikki, the nurse practitioner, with us from the Key West Surgical Group Incorporated in Med Spa, talking about hernias. Now that we know about the different types of hernias, let's find out about the 3 stages of a hernia as well. They're not all equally dangerous, but the stages and understanding those stages can help patients know when it's time to seek care.
That is correct. So as I mentioned, a reducible hernia is when it pops out, but you could pop it back in, or if you lay down, it goes away. There's no pain. So at this point, this is the least concerning stage. Um, Again, coughing or lifting may pop it out, but then you push it back in. Then it becomes an emergency when it doesn't go back in and it starts to get bigger. So then you need to have it evaluated, because, like we said, hernias do not heal on their own.
Mm.
So,
Incarcerated hernias, then, this can be a problem because the tissue can be trapped, right?
right. So, a lot of times people will have a reducible hernia. They put off the surgery, they notice it's getting bigger, and then all of a sudden it can become incarcerating, meaning it is trapped. The tissue is trapped and the bulge no longer goes back in. So then you may have increasing pain at the site. You may have tenderness, swelling. The lump becomes more firm. It's not soft, and you're not able to, again, push back in. And it's present all the time. So it's something that sticks out all the time. This means you usually require like search requires prompt medical surgical evaluation because it can progress to the next stage, which is strangulation.
And that's the third stage, and that one's the emergency stage.
So a strangulated hernia is a true emergency, and usually you know it because you feel it. It's when the hernia occurs when blood flow to the trapped tissue becomes compromised. So that means the tissue begins to die, and this requires emergency surgery. So you need to seek immediate attention. If you know you have a hernia, you know it's been worsening, you have not been able to push it back in, and you have severe pain or worsening pain, you have nausea, vomiting, or fever, inability to pass gas or inability to have a bowel movement, a bulge that suddenly becomes hard. So if it was soft when you woke up in the morning and then all of a sudden in the afternoon it's firm and you feel all these other things, you need to get to the emergency room. Redness or discoloration, and then again, a hernia that went back in that no longer does. So these are symptoms that it means it's incarcerated, which can then cause you can have trapped bowel, and part of your bowel could die because it's trapped and the blood supply has been cut off. So it's really important, if you know you have a hernia, even if you never had it evaluated before and these changes occur and you have these symptoms, you need to seek immediate medical attention.
That is why it's important to seek the expert exceptional care close to home of Key West Surgical Group Incorporated in Med Spa with Dr. Rhoda Smith, taking care of maladies and surgical needs and everything related to it for many years at 3134 now for Northside Drive in Key West. Again, it is exceptional modern healthcare, but close to home. So that is nice. A common myth, though, if it doesn't hurt, that being your hernia, it can't be serious. True or false?
That's false. The reality is many hernias start out completely painless, but they'll tell you they've had the bulge for years without symptoms. But again, over time, hernias enlarge. Like I said, it's a weakness, so it can't repair itself. So the larger the hernia, the more difficult it's become to repair, and then it carries a higher risk of complications. So painless doesn't always mean harmless.
Mm-hmm. So, when you seek out medical care like that of Dr. Rhoda Smith, how are most hernias diagnosed?
Well, they'll usually have you stand, they usually have you cough and palpate the area or bear down, and the bulge will pop out. Sometimes, depending on, the patient, and if they are obese, it might be harder to feel. So we'll get an ultrasound, a CAT scan, or an MRI. Um, Again, that'll help determine, where it is exactly, if it's difficult to feel on examination. And it'll also let us know, like, are there other areas that are, presenting a concern? Is there any, pending strangulation, or does it look like other tissue or bowel are trapped within the hernia?
Okay. Well, do all the hernias then require surgery?
Not immediately. Hernias will most likely require surgery over time, but again, it doesn't mean that if you feel a small soft lump and, like I said, it goes in, it's not bothersome, you might be able to wait. Um, So if they're small and minimally symptomatic, they can be monitored. However, the only definitive treatment again is to have it repaired. Keep repeating ourselves, but they do not repair over time because it is from a weakness in the abdominal wall.
Okay. Well, so if surgery is recommended, then do not put it off. That's one big takeaway here. Let it, the expert medical care like that of Dr. Rhoda Smith is really what you need to adhere to, as opposed to just kind of making excuses.
That is correct. And we get this all the time. And right now it's the summertime. So I know things tend to slow down because people want to take vacation. So the biggest factors we have why people, well, I know, and I've talked about it before, it's usually fear. They're afraid of having the surgery. It's a financial reason. Either they don't have insurance or the insurance has a high deductible. So they said, I'm going to save money and then I'm going to have the surgery done. And 9 times out of 10, that's almost impossible. Those people, it will become an emergency, or they'll be back in the office calling saying, all right, it hurts me now, I need to have surgery. Or they end up in the emergency room with a complete emergency because, they decided to take a vacation, so they put their surgery off. So, I
Mhm.
mean, it's the three common things that happen.
Mhm.
So, or it's not bothering me yet. And then, as it goes on, it starts to bother you more and more. So,
Mhm. Well, yeah, then it can become an emergency, and your body is much better able to heal when it's healthy as opposed to in distress.
well, that is correct. So when you wait till it, like, especially if it becomes incarcerated or strangulated, that means it's trapped. And that means the blood supply is cut off. So that's going to lead to complications. And again, your bowel is very close to all of that. So if you could actually lose part of your bowel
Mm,
from having a strangulated hernia because it cuts the blood supply off to the bowel, not just to the tissue that's surrounding the hernia.
yeah. Well, Nikki, nurse practitioner with us with Medical Matters, talking about hernias and hernia surgery. Then, when it is recommended, what can people expect? What's it look like these days?
So it's an outpatient procedure. It's minimally invasive. It's usually performed laparoscopically. Some places use the robot. I know Dr. Smith, I think, does more laparoscopic. It can be open. Sometimes you do need to have an open repair. It just depends on the size of it and where it's located. Um, Recovery is quick, but again, you will recover quickly, or you think that, you're good to go a week after surgery, but you still need to adhere to the restrictions of heavy lifting, um, and normal daily activities. If you have a real strenuous job where you're lifting something over 20 pounds daily, you're not going to be able to do that for 6 to 8 weeks. So just
Mm,
keep that in the back of your mind. Sometimes the surgeons may have to use mesh. They can just do it with sutures. It just depends. That will be decided when you have your consultation with the doctor. And sometimes they get in there and it's bigger than they thought. So,
mm,
it really just depends. But overall, it's a same day surgery as
mm.
long as there's no complications.
Yeah, indeed. All right. Well, and the effect is necessary because it's not going to fix itself. That is
That is
clear.
correct.
So, if you don't have a hernia, though, you talked about some of the people at risk and some of the activities that make hernias become a problem. So, how can hernias be prevented?
Unfortunately, they all can't be prevented, but to reduce your risk, we should say, maintain a healthy weight, avoid smoking, avoid using tobacco use, treating chronic cough. If you're somebody that has a chronic cough, whether it's COPD, it's asthma, even allergies, some people have allergies where they get that postnasal drip and they cough all the time. If you're constantly coughing, you can weaken your abdominal wall muscles. So making sure you're kind of treating your cough, suppressing it, preventing constipation, do not strain. um this is what, straining also can cause weakness in the muscles. Proper lifting techniques. If you work in if you have a position, you look at those UPS and FedEx drivers, they're
Oh, yeah.
constantly lifting those heavy boxes. They're at risk. Even
Mhm.
if they use proper body mechanics, they're lifting those heavy boxes. Strengthening your core safely, exercising, maintaining your muscle strength, and then again, following your post-surgical lifting restrictions. That's the biggest one, is everybody wants to go back to work.
Mm. Okay, and this Nikki the nurse practitioner. Boy, oh boy, I need coffee.
Ism.
She's with us from the Key West Surgical Group Incorporated and Med Spa. So if we can wrap it up then with a take-home message.
So a hernia is not always an emergency, but it can become one. An incarcerated hernia is concerning, and a strangulated hernia is a surgical emergency. Mostly, don't put your pain off. Don't put the hernia off if it's growing. If you know you have one, planning, like you said, planning a surgery is safer than waiting till it becomes an emergency. You're gonna heal much quicker.
Mm-hmm. And a simple office visit really can prevent an emergency later.
That is correct. If you come in and you have a hernia, we can, and she recommends that you have surgery, we will have you put on the schedule that day. We have somebody on site scheduling surgeries every day. So there's no need to put it off.
Yep. Key West Surgical Group Incorporated and Med Spa with Dr. Rhoda Smith. Exceptional care close to home. She can certainly take care of these concerns and get you back to good health. And aesthetics too, just quickly, we've talked about that numerous times in the past. Not only are surgical remedies available to get you back to good health, but to get you looking great as well. There are all kinds of very advanced techniques with 3 different laser technologies, RF microneedling, and a lot of other. What was the other acronym that we used? MRF or NERF or something?
ZERF.
ZERF. Okay, sorry, I was close.
ZERF is taking the internet by storm. So it is radio frequency without the needles. It goes down deeper into the tissue to stimulate collagen and elastin. So it truly is. It even goes deeper than RF microneedling. So your results are, you see results right away. You see some lifting and softening of your deeper wrinkles. And so
ZERF.
it goes ZERF.
We talked about that, and it is fascinating, and it's available at Key West Surgical Group Incorporated and Med Spa. Give them a call for your free consultation appointment, 305-294-1041, keywestsurgicalgroup.com online as well. How about it?
Yes, that is correct.
Excellent.
Check out our before and afters. I had put some up on our social media, and we've had some great results so far. And we've really only had the device for about 2 weeks.
Oh, wow. Perfect. Wow. That is quick. Very good. Well, thank you, Nikki, the nurse practitioner. We will talk to you again very soon.
All right. Talk to you next week.
All right. Take care. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
It is Nikki, the nurse practitioner, Key West Surgical Group Incorporated and Med Spa online, keywestsurgicalgroup.com, bringing you medical matters. Thank you for that. This is Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the Talk of the Keys. Back in a moment.
Good morning, dear. Breakfast almost ready?
In a minute. So did you happen to call someone about spalling repair for the house?
You know what? I knew I forgot something yesterday.
Honey, you know how important spalling repair is, especially here in the Keys. If that spalling damage gets any worse...
Don't worry. I'll call Design Center in Marathon.
When?
Today.
How about now?
Okay, dear. Now.
Design Center, the most efficient spalling contractor in the Keys, providing the fastest results. With over 40 years combined experience in spalling repair and a member of the International Concrete Repair Institute, Design Center can handle the largest jobs to small structures. They also handle quite a number of condominium and county projects. Mention this ad or the program you're listening to and receive 10% off your spalling repair. Visit DesignCenterFL.com or call 305-735-4042. Design Center, 6677 Overseas Highway Marathon. License number CGC 1523838. Remember, mention this ad or the program you're listening to and receive 10% off your spalling repair from Design Center.
This is Ollie North for 4-Star Rentals. 4-Star Rentals is the most complete rental store in the Keys. They can provide rental equipment for every do-it-yourself project from your house to your yard. Bobcats, chippers, chainsaws, and tile saws, you name it, they have it. They also deliver throughout the Keys. That's 4-Star Rentals. Model marker 4.5 on Stock Island. These guys are really good. That's 4-Star Rentals. Go see them soon.
Check us out. What Colonel Ollie North says is absolutely true. We're locally owned and operated. We offer a fleet of delivery trucks for fast all-in-one delivery. 4-Star Rentals is the oldest tool rental and party store in the Florida Keys. We make it easy to get that job done for that party or very special event. We're located at mile marker 4.5 in Key West, or just call us and we'll come to you. 4-Star Rentals, 294-7171. That's 294-7171. Remember, Colonel Ollie North never lies.
Historic Pepe's Cafe in Key West, founded in 1909, still does things the old way. Diachronic, if you will. How about fresh squeezed juices? Think how good that margarita or Greyhound will taste. Blue Point oysters shuck to order because oysters work better that way. Fresh breads and outstanding specials in an eatery that opened the same year Ole Evinrude invented the first outboard motor. And get a jump on someone's birthday and check out our retail offerings for some great gift ideas. Pepe's Cafe, Old Town Key West, of course.
This is Good Morning Keys on Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5.
And good morning, Keys. It is Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the talk of the Keys, as we work our way through a busy morning this morning. It is it Tuesday or Wednesday? I don't even know what day it is. I've been on the road here. So what, Daniel, what day is today? Hey, all right. There he is. Daniel, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. Daniel Samus, I was just asking what day it is, and is it Tuesday or Wednesday? I've lost track. I've been
Tuesday, my friend.
Thank you. Goodness gracious. Don't rush it. Got Juneteenth coming up. We're in mid-June already. It has been a busy time. And of course it's Tuesday because we've got the Chamber Luncheon and Marathon today.
That's right. Yep. We're really excited. We are at Isla Bella Beach Resort in their lovely conference center. And Justin and his crew take such good care of us and our guests and chamber members and locals. We're really excited to be there. I know they have some really good surprises as far as the cuisine today, I've been told. So, I mean, it's always amazing there anyways, but the fact that they seem to always surprise us just shows how dedicated they are to the local community, because they don't have to do what they do as far as on the local side and all the monies they donate to local charities, AHEC, and a lot of good other causes. So kudos to Isla Bella. And we're excited, Michael. We have our keynote speaker, as I call him, Sir Richard Strickland. He is the director of Monroe County Airports, and he's going to focus his discussion on bringing commercial air service back to Marathon International Airport, something that the Marathon Chamber and Board of Directors has been working really hard on for a number of years and advocating for. So we're excited to be part of that endeavor, quite literally, and Richard's going to update our members on that.
Daniel Samus, President and CEO of the Greater Marathon Chamber of Commerce, and he's on Good Morning Keys this morning. So that will be a fascinating discussion. And you're right, Isla Bella always does a fabulous job with luncheons and greeting and taking care of our Chamber of Commerce and our locals and visitors as well. But the Richard Strickland did a great job with overseeing the renovation of the Key West International Airport. A lot of people have been there and noticed the wonderful changes. And the Marathon Chamber continues to make sure that there's now focus on the Marathon Airport. What could that mean to the economy if we started having some commercial flights there?
Tens of millions of dollars a year just within our Middle Keys local economy, Michael. You know, believe it or not, our Marathon International Airport already has don't quote me, but it's like a $20 to $40 million a year annual economic impact just on our community right now. And that's just solely servicing private aircraft and aviation and folks flying in on private planes, jets, and uses of the runway, paying the fees, employing people directly at the airport and with our FBO Millionaire, as well as indirectly throughout town. And then visitors that fly in privately and stay at Isla Bella, Hawks Cay, Tranquility Bay and whatnot, or rent a vacation rental home as well. So it already has a huge but quiet economic impact most people aren't aware of. But adding commercial air service, Michael, is going to significantly increase that and kind of stack on that. As you can imagine, a lot of these folks, the majority that will use it will be visitors. Of course, locals will absolutely use it, I'm sure, and be very happy to have that convenience. I know I will. But visitors primarily is what drives our economy, and they'll be coming and going. And it's just more people to fill heads in beds, especially during our shoulder seasons. I don't think we have an issue with high season, but we have reverted back to our seasonality, which I think is a good thing, especially for a lot of us locals that like a little bit of that reprieve. But economically, it's just going to help that much more, to provide access to Marathon in the Middle Keys, and as well as Islamorada too, Michael. A lot of people who are staying in Islamorada would love to fly into Marathon versus Miami. That it's obviously very much a more enjoyable, easy drive from here versus Miami or Fort Lauderdale. So Isla Mirada stands to benefit, as does our neighbors to the lower Keys as well. So it's really going to spread out, but significantly impact us here in Marathon, the Middle Keys.
Yeah, and there was already a lot of work done at the Marathon Airport with moving the runway, and it's got the facilities and it's got the infrastructure anyway necessary to bring in commercial traffic. It's got a pretty sound structure there from which to build upon, and there's a lot of benefit to be had. It certainly seems that way. And the Greater Marathon Chamber of Commerce, always at the forefront of promoting our economy in Marathon and representing the business community there as well. Has there been talk as far as what potentially the routes might be, where the flights might come from, et cetera?
Yep, and Richard will definitely get into that today at the luncheon, but it's looking like it could be potentially American Airlines, and if it's American, it would probably connect to Miami, which I know is a little bit close to home, but the good news is Miami International Airport is one of the largest airports in the country, domestically and internationally. So it still creates a real good win. It could also be Delta, which would go to Atlanta, which has been a longstanding nice leg from Key West, and something we had actually here for a cup of coffees, I call it. But Atlanta is another great hub for us, a little bit further away. The third option might be like a United flight. This is where Richard and his team really shine. Richard specifically, his business development acumen is, I think, second to none. I think when he arrived, Key West only had 6 or so routes, and he's got it to over 20. And I think that's a testament to his relationships with the airlines, his confidence in the destination, and then, as you alluded to, Michael, the improvements over time that he's made to Key West International Airport, which were, I think, long needed, but I think as he added more demand, it funded itself. He gets grants for things, and even all the improvements that Marathon's going to need our airport to add on to the infrastructure. As you said, he already has a lot of grants applied for. Some already have been approved, others we're waiting for, and I believe it's not going to cost the taxpayers anything on it, and it's over $11 million in further improvements. And that benefits all of us, okay? Anytime local government, hardens, improves its existing infrastructure and not using tax dollars, that's a win-win, right? Because obviously property tax dollars are a hot topic these days. And so anytime you have a local government, and again, kudos to Richard and the county commission, Mayor Lincoln, on ensuring that those are, that's not any type of a net cost to the taxpayers. That's what we all want to see, of course, right? As taxpayers. So we appreciate that. And, we're excited to see further improvements and investments in the Marathon Airport.
Yeah. Daniel Sammis, President, CEO, Greater Marathon Chamber of Commerce on Good Morning Keys. Speaking of dollars, taxes, et cetera, I know that the Marathon Chamber and you personally are very involved with ongoing legislative challenges we may have down the road. And I'm sure that you and the Chamber are monitoring the property tax debate, we'll call it, which will go before the voters in the fall.
That's right. Yep. Obviously, that was the big thing. Folks went back. I was just actually texting with our state rep, Mr. Jim Mooney, who I'm actually hoping to secure as our luncheon speaker in July. So stay tuned for that, because then Jim would give a legislative wrap up. And as you could imagine, as you just said, that's going to be the topic du jour, right? Because our state passes, a balanced budget. They do a really good job, legislature and the governor, on that. Florida enjoys no state income tax because of the sales tax and because of tourism. So something else, that always comes up there, Michael, are the TDT taxes. And constantly we have some people in Tallahassee and even locally that want to try to reroute those. And it would be disastrous to do that. They just think that people will come if you don't market and advertise. And I could show you tons of case studies that actually happen in Colorado and other areas where when you do that, guess what? Tourism goes down. And I always tell people, why do you think Coca-Cola and Pepsi spend billions a year on marketing and advertising when they own the majority of the market share within their respective industry? So there's tons of data, but back to the property taxes. Yep, it passed, of course, where I think a lot of local governments are still assessing, how it could potentially impact their budgets. We know it will. I understand the desire from the governor. I understand the desire from homeowners, especially homesteaded homeowners, of course. So it will be interesting. I'm happy to see that they put some protections in there, of course, for the school, for the constitutional officers, for fire rescue, and police, of course, all crucial needs. You then do worry about mosquito control, parks and rec, and other areas that local cities and counties will have to figure out. What we hope doesn't happen is it just becomes a tax shift, where local government is potentially forced to add fees onto those certain items to cover the expenses. So it's going to be interesting to see. We'll be working, with our local city officials, of course. We'll be working with our county officials and folks, and then with our, state rep and state senator on all those ends to have all the information, provide that to our chamber members. So when the ballots come, they are as informed as they can be. And, part of our mission, Michael, is not just the advocating part and promotion part, but it is informing literally our business members as a chamber. So we want to keep them informed so they could vote, make the best decision for themselves as a property owner, as a business owner as well, because this also affects the commercial property side as well, with the 5% cap on the property assessments for commercial properties as well. So interesting times. If I had my druthers, I may have drew it up a little differently, but I understand the why part. It's always the how. That's the interesting part on the methodology. I do wish the state did more of an actual analysis to really run some scenarios through to see, okay, what the impacts would be before just putting it out there and, get up here, vote on it, pass it, let's go. Because none of that was really done on the actual impact. So now cities and counties, of course, will do their own, and other think tanks will do it as well. But you would, and ideally, let's see the state, run those analysis before they pass such a, groundbreaking legislation. So interesting times. We'll see.
They are. It is Daniel Sammis, President, CEO, Greater Marathon Chamber of Commerce. Daniel, we thank you for following along all of these issues on behalf of our business community and our community at large. Again, a reminder, the luncheon today with Richard Strickland, Director of Airports, that's going to happen at Isla Belda today. Also, I was able to enjoy a really enjoyable time at the Business After Hours last week at Engel and Volkers. Thank you to Stephanie Duvall and her team for putting on a great event last week as well. And then, again, we encourage all to go to the Chamber of Commerce online to find out more, or visit the Chamber in Marathon, but you can go to FloridaKeysMarathon.com to find out more. With that, Daniel, anything else we should mention?
Yeah, no, just again, for any of our members that want to attend the luncheon today, just shoot us a call real quick. Offices are now open since it's past 9 o'clock, of course. So 305-743-5417. We can get you hopefully RSVP'd to the luncheon. I know we're getting a pretty good crowd. Yes. If you're not a member, as you said, and you're interested in joining and allowing us to inform you, advocate for you, promote you, and just provide other great opportunities for you and your business and your staff, please go to FloridaKeysMarathon.com and check us out, learn more, and contact us. Happy to talk and meet with anyone one-on-one, because we're here to serve, and we're here to serve our business community. Yeah, we appreciate that, and all of our members and everything that you do. And again, kudos to Stephanie and Engel and Volkers. She even sabered, the champagne bottle. Stephanie is an amazing human being, not just a great broker and realtor, but she's very talented. She's actually, I think, a level 2 certified licensed sommelier. So she is very knowledgeable about wines. I've had a lot of good discussions with her on that. And yes, to see her saber a bottle of champagne she's a bad mama. I'll say it that way for the radio.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And also, one quick final note. Thank you again for all of the scholarships that were made possible in part by the Greater Marathon Chamber of Commerce as we wrapped up another successful graduation in Marathon. Keep in mind that the Greater Marathon Chamber of Commerce continually giving back to the community, and the scholarships are one way that is tangibly done. So thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up. I can't believe I forgot about that, but that's why you're good at what you do, Michael. But again, my board of directors, it has such a passion for that, and education is also, one of our pillars at the chamber. So we love supporting our Marathon High School seniors. So we awarded $13,000 in scholarships to seniors. We did 10 $1,000 scholarships, Michael, and we did 6 $500 scholarships. And those 6 went to students, seniors going into a trade, a vocational area of study, which the board a few years ago started really supporting that as well as an alternative path, because not everyone wants to go the traditional one to university college, which we completely understand, especially with the way the world's changing. And so we value the trades wholeheartedly, and so proud of my board of directors for just having that fortitude and vision to award both paths for our great seniors at Marathon High School. And yeah, really super happy about that. I think it was over $1 million, maybe 1.5 that was awarded just with Marathon. So testament to our community, you know, Mr. Marathon, Mike Puto, all he does, and all the great associations and local business owners that do so much. Actually, one of mine, shout out to Millie Perez and her hubby Bert with their real estate company and vacation rental management company. They did $15,000. This is their first year or second year, and they did $15K. They did 3 $5,000 scholarships, and Millie's on the chamber board. So really proud of her, and just an example of what local marathon business owners are doing for our community.
Phenomenal. Well, Daniel, at that, I want to thank you for being here and all that you do. Have a wonderful, productive lunch here today, and we will see you very soon, sir.
All right, my friend. You guys be safe up there.
Yes, thank you very much. Daniel Sammis with us. He is the president and CEO of Greater Marathon Chamber of Commerce on Good Morning Keys. It's time for Glenn Beck.